A godly parent wants the best for their child. They want to provide for them, help their child succeed, and see them develop a strong relationship with Jesus. Raising children can bring great joy, but it can also bring sorrow when our children aren't obeying the Lord. Today's email comes from a parent who wonders if they're pushing a little too hard. And so she writes, I'm a single mother of a 16-year-old boy. Whenever we encounter tough times, he and I get on our knees and pray together. But he isn't willing, and I have to force him to pray with me. Is it wrong to force a child to pray? Well, let me say first of all that I certainly admire you, Mom, for doing your best to help teach your children, or your son here especially, how to pray. Because prayer is such an absolutely important part of our life. And the earlier a child learns to talk to God, the better. It is the most powerful habit we can develop. Now, there are always conditions to answered prayer. And when a person is rebellious in their heart, they're not going to get many answers, and it appears that your teenage boy is rebellious. So I would say forcing him to pray is not wise. It'll just turn him off, and it'll do something about your relationship to him. There is a better way, and I would simply suggest that you express your desire why you want him to pray with you. And you may say to him, I need to hear you pray for me. I want to pray for you, and I want you to hear my voice praying for you. So one of these days out there when you get a little older and you get in trouble, something's going wrong, you can remember hearing me pray for you. Now, sometimes prayer is a little difficult for some people. I do understand that. And so you may ask the question, well, what shall I do? What can I do to get my child to pray? Now, what I'm going to say is probably not going to be what you expect. Because here's what I would tell you. You pray for God to send him enough trouble and enough hurt and enough difficulty in his life that he is driven to God to pray. You say, well, why would I want to pray that for my child? Because oftentimes the only thing that gets people on their knees is trouble, difficulty, hardship, all kinds of adversity. And remember what you're doing is you're training him. And you're teaching him early in life. And he says, I don't want to pray because he doesn't feel the need of it and probably feels a little embarrassed praying in your presence. You pray for God to do whatever is necessary to cause him to feel the need of God. And what happens is simply this, the same thing that happens to adults. Pain drives us to God. So don't criticize him. Allow God to apply the pressure in his life, and then you trust God to teach that boy how to pray. He's already heard you. He knows what you sound like. He knows that you love him. Now he needs to understand how very important it is that he learn to pray. Well, thank you for joining us today at In Touch, and we look forward to seeing you again next week. And until then, obey God, leave all the consequences to him. Sometimes that's hard, but it is living life at its very best.